Stop looking at the clock. Every second ticking on it is just an illusion. Do you think I'm joking, or that I'm crazy? Don't scroll away yet. First, calm your heart, which is pounding with anxiety. Let's make a bet. If I can't pull you out of this quagmire of worrying about getting old, regretting the past, and fearing the future in the next 10 minutes, then consider me talking nonsense. But if I do pull you out, you might find that you've lived the first few decades of your life as if you've been living in a giant deception. This deception is called time. I know your common sense is screaming. You'll say you're blind? Look in the mirror. Are my gray hairs real? Are the wrinkles around my eyes real? I can't stay up all night like I did when I was 20. What else is this if not time? Yes, the body decays, just as apples rot and iron rusts. This is called entropy increase, a physical change. But this doesn't mean there's a monster called time chasing you with a whip. The pain of most of us, that tossing and turning in the middle of the night, wanting to scream, isn't because of getting old itself, but because we've created a long, fictitious timeline of information for ourselves. On this non-existent timeline, we play these two cruelest games. What if and what if later? Have you ever had this experience? In the dead of night, the surroundings are as quiet as a tomb, and you suddenly remember a choice you made 10 or 20 years ago. Maybe you didn't buy that house. Maybe you didn't dare tell that person you wanted to stay. Maybe you chose the wrong career or married the wrong person. That thought is like a thorn, piercing your very core. You might even replay that scene in your mind over and over again. In this self-directed movie, you made the right choice, and now your life is prosperous and happy. Wake up. This kind of mental activity is essentially a form of schizophrenia. Why do I call it schizophrenia? Because you're trying to use your present self to cover up your past self. But the most absurd thing is that physics and the highest levels of Eastern wisdom are telling you the same truth. There's no such thing as a lost past, and there's no future waiting for you. Everything is already written. Destiny isn't an unknown river, but a pre-recorded record. At this point, you might feel a chill down your spine. What do you mean? I mean that this record, at this very moment, contains not only the first song but also the last. The entire record exists simultaneously. It's just that your consciousness, like a long needle, has happened to read this particular circle of lines. Let's conduct an extreme thought experiment, or rather, let's have a lucid dream. Think of the famous story, the Yellow Millet Dream. The scholar Lu Sheng met a Taoist priest in an inn, borrowed a pillow, and slept for a lifetime. Please note, don't just treat this as an idiom. We need to enter the texture of that dream. In that dream, Lu Sheng didn't just know that 50 years had passed, he truly experienced 50 years. He felt the ecstasy of passing the imperial examination, the dizziness of blood rushing to his head, he suffered. On their wedding night, the trembling of his fingertips as he lifted his wife's red veil reminded him of the chilling feeling of being framed and exiled to the frontier, his feet sinking into icy mud. In his dreams, he watched his child being born, learning to walk, and calling him Dad for the first time. That joy was real. Later, in his old age, lying ill in bed, staring at the roof beams, struggling to breathe, his lungs gurgling like bellows, that extreme fear of death was also real. Every detail, every wrinkle, every swallow was flawlessly real. He would never doubt in his dreams whether it was all an illusion, because that moment of pain and joy filled all his senses. Then, he stretched, woke up. And the millet rice in the electric cooker wasn't cooked yet. Now, the most terrifying question arose. For Lu Sheng, where had those 50 years gone? Had they vanished? Or is it that those 50 years are simply compressed into this fleeting moment? If someone in Lu Sheng's dream told him, "Hey buddy, don't get too caught up in the drama. Your 50 years of joys and sorrows are just the time it takes someone else to cook a pot of rice. Would Lu Sheng believe it? He would definitely slap that person. The headache is so real. And you're telling me it's fake? Aren't we doing the same foolish thing right now? You feel like you've lived 40, 50, or 60 years, and those memories feel heavy, suffocating you. But from a higher dimensional perspective, let's call it the enlightened perspective, or Einstein's perspective, your decades of life are no different from Lu Sheng's dream. Einstein has a very famous theory called the block universe. The universe, this is perhaps the most chilling yet profoundly enlightening theory in human history. Simply put, Einstein believed that the past, present, and future are not like beads falling one by one, but rather like a giant block of ice or a roll of film, existing completely and entirely within the universe. Imagine you're holding a roll of film. While watching a movie in a theater, the plot unfolds second by second. The protagonist might be alive 1 second and dead the next. But in the projectionist's hands, the protagonist's birth, their moment of glory, and their death all exist simultaneously on this roll of film. The ending doesn't disappear just because you haven't seen it, nor does the beginning vanish just because you've seen it. Do you understand? Your childhood hasn't disappeared, it remains eternally at its place in the space-time coordinates. Your old age, even the moment of your death, hasn't yet occurred. It's waiting for you quietly behind the space-time coordinates. This is why the most supreme Buddhist classic, the Diamond Sutra, says that the past mind is unattainable, the present mind is unattainable, and the future mind is unattainable. This isn't advising you to be more open-minded, it's stating a physical fact. Unattainability doesn't mean you can't obtain it, but rather that you can't grasp fleeting illusions. Since it exists simultaneously like a film reel, why cling to the idea of holding on to youth? Youth is there, forever there, it's just that your momentary record has passed. Why fear aging? That's the next scene in the script, already prepared. Whether you fear it or not, it's there. At this point, a profound sense of emptiness might overwhelm you. You might ask, if everything is predetermined, if the script has already been written, then what's the point of my current efforts? Am I just a puppet? Maybe I should just give up. This is the second pitfall most ordinary people fall into, mistaking fate for despair. That's precisely the mistake. True freedom comes from knowing the script is already written. Sounds contradictory, right? Let's look at it another way. If you knew you were acting, and you knew the script said the protagonist would experience bankruptcy or a serious illness at this point, what would a good actor do? Would you sit on set crying and yelling at the director, "Why did you give me this kind of role? I won't act. I'll rewrite the script. I want to play a billionaire." No, you wouldn't. That would make you seem unprofessional and ridiculous. An award-winning actor, seeing a scene of suffering in the script, would have their eyes light up. They would think, this part has great tension. I want to portray this pain vividly. I want to experience this heart-wrenching feeling, because that will hone my acting skills. What are we born into this world for? Is it to live a peaceful, healthy, and accident-free life like an assembly line product? No. The reason your soul dons this body and leaps into the river of time is to experience your current suffering. It stems from always wanting to be the screenwriter, not the actor. You always want to rewrite the script. When you're sick, instead of experiencing the body's healing and the fragility of life, you frantically fight internally, "Why me? I shouldn't be sick." When your child is disobedient, instead of experiencing the complexities of parent-child relationships and the lessons of acceptance, you roar internally. They shouldn't be like this. You've trapped yourself in hell with the word should. All your suffering comes from saying no to the current situation. You think you're fighting fate, but you're just engaging in internal conflict. It's like being strapped to a roller coaster. When the ride plunges down, you desperately grip the handrails, trying to go up. When it turns left, you desperately twist your body to the right. The result? The roller coaster's trajectory doesn't change an inch. The only consequence is that you're covered in injuries and vomit everywhere. True wisdom is to let go. Oh, so that's how the story goes. When you start thinking this way, a miracle happens. That tense, anxious, suffocating pressure instantly disappears. This isn't about becoming passive and escaping the world, nor is it about refusing to eat when hungry or take medicine when sick. It's about doing all this without clinging to anything inside. Imagine you're playing a challenging video game. Your character disconnects. You control them to use healing items, to dodge attacks, and you concentrate fully on defeating monsters. But the moment you turn off the screen, will you be depressed for 3 months because your character just died? Will you regret not finding that gold coin for the rest of your life? No. Because you know it's just a game. Zhuangzi was someone who saw through this long ago, that it's all just a game. When Zhuangzi's wife died, Hizzy went to offer condolences, only to find Zhuangzi banging on a basin and singing. Hizzy was astonished and said, "You're so heartless." What did Zhuangzi say? He replied, "My wife was originally a wisp of air from heaven and earth, and now she's returned to that air as naturally as the changing seasons. She's sleeping in the great house of heaven and earth, and I'm still crying beside her. Wouldn't that make me insensible?" Was Zhuangzi cold-blooded? No, he stood outside the film reel, seeing the cycle of life and death as naturally as breathing. He knew that although the character was gone, the life energy never disappeared. So what are we afraid of? We're afraid that something called self will disappear. We desperately grasp for money, fame, and status, desperately trying to hold on to our youth, all to prove that we are real, that we can control the situation. But the truth is, self is the biggest illusion. The cells in your body now are completely different from the cells in your 5-year-old self. Even the connections between neurons in your brain have changed. Materially speaking, you are two completely different people. Why do you think it's the same you? Because of memory, because that fabricated timeline has deceived you. What would happen if we cut off the timeline? Try it. Take a deep breath right now. Don't think about the past second, don't think about the next second. Stare at a glass of water in front of you or a leaf outside the window. In this instant, there is only seeing, no one looking, and nothing being seen. There is only pure experience. In this instant, do you have any worries? No, all troubles need time as a breeding ground. You need time to savor your shame, you need time to anticipate your fears. If there is no time, only the present moment, troubles have nowhere to settle. This is the true meaning of living in the present. It's not just empty platitudes, it's an extremely intense mental training. It's about being like a knife, cutting off the tail of the past and the tentacles of the future, leaving only the sharpest blade to cut from this moment. At that moment, you'll find that life becomes surprisingly light. Since the script is set, since time is an illusion, since we are merely actors experiencing life, how should we live? I want to give you 2 words: play. Face your later years and your anxieties with a playful attitude. When you discover age spots on your face, don't panic. Smile and tell yourself, "Wow, the makeup artist has upgraded my character's look. It seems the next scenes will have even more depth." When you find your children have left you, don't be sad. Tell yourself, "It seems the script has reached the lone wolf chapter. Perfect, I'll see how a person can live life." When you face illness, or even the threat of death, you can say to the unknown screenwriter in your heart, "Okay, this level is designed to be difficult, but I accept the challenge. Let's see how gracefully I can complete this journey." This is what the ancients meant by going with the flow. This is doing nothing yet accomplishing everything. If you don't fight against the script, you possess the whole world. I know that even after hearing this, your brain may still be resisting. Your stubborn logical thinking may still be trying to find loopholes, still worrying, what if I don't have money for retirement? What if I become paralyzed? See, that what if is back again. That ghost of the future is choking you right now. Remember, that future trouble exists only in your imagination until it actually happens. Most of the disasters we worry about will never occur. Even if they do, you'll have the wisdom and strength to deal with them then. You don't need to use your current energy to pay for the future. That's a huge waste. Take your energy back. Take it back from that non-existent past, take it back from that future that hasn't happened yet, and focus it all on this moment. Look at your palms, look at the light around you. Listen to the sounds outside the window. This is reality. This is the only thing you truly possess. Actually, when Einstein and Buddha met on the mountaintop, they probably didn't say anything. Just smiled at each other, because they discovered a common secret. There is no time, no birth, aging, sickness, or death. The universe is a grand fireworks display, and we are the viewers. And also the fireworks themselves. The fireworks rising into the sky are beautiful, their blooming is beautiful, their extinguishing is beautiful. No moment is more advanced than another. And no moment is worth regretting or fearing. So relax. The life script you're holding, no matter how dramatic the plot, is a limited edition tailor-made for you. Since you're already here, since you've already acted, and since you can't back out, why not act to your heart's content? Don't frown, okay? Before you go to sleep tonight, try saying one thing to yourself. It's not praying for a better tomorrow, nor is it repenting for what you did wrong yesterday. Just tell yourself that you acted well this time, and you'll continue tomorrow. If you feel a long-lost sense of relief in your heart at this moment, like a sandbag you've been carrying for a long time suddenly having a hole, congratulations. You just, even if it was only for a second, jumped out of the prison of time. Doesn't that feel pretty good?